All right, what's going on, fellas and fillettes? Hiking out here in the wilderness for a little bit of solitude and reflection. Today is Pascha. Christ is risen. Truly, he is risen. Blessed Pascha to everybody. May the Lord have mercy on us and vouchsafe us all to become his true servants, find salvation, and live lives rightly ordered according to his will. Damn, I'm out of breath. I'm hauling right now because I want to get this video filmed, and I got church in like an hour or so. Tempted to make this video twice already, talking about the new Frankenstein movie, but I felt that it was just too heady, too much yapping, and a lot of details that nobody really needs to hear. I just want to get to the core spirit of how I interpreted the movie and why it's relevant to us as young men today. So let me get to the top of this mountain real quick and we'll discuss. All right. The new Frankenstein movie, pretty much a relatively faithful rendition of the original story. I read the book in preparation for this video, and honestly, doing all this was overkill because all I'm going to do here is just yap about my worldview. But no, Frankenstein is an amazing story, and it runs deep because it encapsulates a lot of different meanings. There's like 1,000 ways you could interpret the story, and I think they're all quite valid. There are some that are less so, but the clearest and most seemingly intended symbolic meaning is that Frankenstein's monster is like technology, modernism. It's a soulless golem. It's the beast of it's kind of like the Tower of Babel. It's man's vain ambition to try to become God without God. Try to become gods without God. And what you end up with is this soulless, lifeless, cursed being. Now, the new story kind of flips it on its head and makes the monster out to be kind of more human than the human. And it's sort of seems like they're going for maybe something to do with AI kind of becoming like the replacement for man. And, you know, it's like it's a more pure being because of whatever reason. And the monster is kind of this like, it's just misunderstood, and all it wants is to be accepted by the humans, and the humans turn on it. Whereas in the book, the monster was a cursed being, and it was you could sympathize with it in that it had no choice in its existence. It was forced into existence, and it's an abomination. But at the end of the day, an abomination is called that for a reason. It's because it can't exist. It doesn't work within the framework, and it leads to evil. And in the book, the monster kills many innocent people out of rage and spite and whatever, because that's what monsters do, right? So, you know, the story of the movie is, you know, it's a twist. It's playing on it. I thought it was intriguing and relatively well done. I did enjoy the movie. I recommend it. I think it has more beauty and more to say than the average film that comes out today. I thought it was rather poignant. However, I think the most relevant and interesting thought that came to me from watching this film had nothing to do with the original story. It was something totally new. And that is, it really comes up towards the end of the movie. So if you aren't familiar with the story of Frankenstein, I'm not going to summarize too much, but I'll just tell you that Victor Frankenstein is this Enlightenment thinker. He very well sums up the ideas of the Enlightenment, the scientific revolution. He thinks that God is an oppressive tyrant who has created us just to die. And our goal should be to overcome that through technology, through innovation. We're going to transcend the limitations that God has put on us, and we're going to become gods in and of ourselves. That is what the Enlightenment is. That's what it was truly about. And this movie takes place during the Enlightenment. It makes perfect sense. Victor Frankenstein is that vain, arrogant, self-obsessed, person who is aiming for that very lofty and satanic goal. And so that's the story we follow. And then he kind of drags all these other people along with him who are somewhere in between. There you have the love interest who represents beauty and tradition and goodness, and she hates him. They flipped the story on its head. The original love interest, they actually got married, and she, Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein in the book, I'd say is a lot more of a sympathetic character. He kind of gets seduced by these ideas and thoughts. He's not hell-bent on it from the beginning, and he actually very quickly repents and realizes his mistake, but it's too late. Whereas in this film, it takes until his life is destroyed for him to regret his decisions. And even then, his heart is so hardened that he's really just a shell of a man. The relevance of the story for young men today, and the reason I'm making this video, comes towards the end of the story when the abomination, the cursed creature, Frankenstein's monster, after attempting to understand humanity, after spending time with watching these humans live as a family and seeing the beauty that is humanity, he desires to have it and to be it. He wants to participate, and he meets with an old man and he teaches him humanity. He gives him the knowledge. Like, he shows him the Bible. He shows him all the classic stories, all the tales that are the fabric of civilization. And he, he's enamored by it and he wants it, but there's something missing. And it sends him on this journey to find out, where did I come from? What am I? I'm not human. I'm something different. And he learns of his creator. And he immediately hates his creator because he learns that he is a hodgepodge of the discarded dead. He is a cursed creature. So he comes to his creator and asks him, if you're going to make me an abomination upon the earth, cursed to live forever in suffering, at least give me a partner in this suffering. Give me one like me. Of course, Victor Frankenstein refuses because he's like, what, am I going to put an entire race of monsters upon the earth to destroy humanity? No. And this kind of puts the creature on the warpath. He just wants to torture Victor for the rest of his life. But towards the end, they come back together. The creature has a moment where he shares his story, the story from his perspective. This is what it was like. And you see in the story, it's kind of a reverse Genesis. So you're seeing the story of Adam and Eve. But in this case, there is no Eve. There's only Adam. He's an atomized and lost, confused creature. And he's chained up. And his Garden of Eden is not paradise, but it's hell. So his story begins in hell. He descends into the real world, into the beauty of nature, into life. And so his fall is kind of a good thing, but there is no good in his paradigm because he's an abomination, right? He's a wretch. But he comes into life and realizes that he has no part in it. He has no inheritance in this world. He's not meant to be. He has no place within this order of things. So because of that, he's just rage. He's just pure malice. And that's what Frankenstein, that's the deeper human idea of what Frankenstein represents. So at the end, he gets to tell his story, and he explains, like, look what you've done to me. Look at the position you've put me in. What am I supposed to do? And he speaks to his own creator, and all Victor can tell him is, well, what choice do you have but to try to live? What choice do you have but to be what you can be? And if you understand what goodness is, even if you can't feel it, you can't truly know it, you can pursue it, and you just have no choice. It's kind of like a Sisyphus type of story where you're cursed to push the boulder up the mountain forever. And it's a similar situation where what can you do but try to be good? Even though you have no goodness, you have no role to play, but what can you do but try to find what your role is? And it's, it's not necessarily a feel-good moment. It's not like a wholesome, like, oh, here's our lovely moral. It's like you are cursed, and that it doesn't soften the reality much at all, but it's more like a call to action. It's like you're cursed and you have to deal with it. What are you going to do? You're just going to try to destroy everything? What good does that do? So I like it because it's deeper than just a moral. And it's also interesting. It's kind of, it's all inverted, where the creator repents in the end. The creation laments and the creator repents, and the creation forgives the creator. So of course, from a Christian paradigm, you're looking at the exact opposite of our reality, but you can still see yourself in the monster. And this is where, I keep saying this is where the point is. This is where the point is. Here is the point. Frankenstein's monster, to me, is Gen Z to a T. It is the youth of today. Hold on, this wind is crazy. Nature's rocking with that plane. It's just like, yes, you're so right. Just blowing hard. All right, hold on. Generation Z, young men of today, young men and women of today. We are, in a sense, at least we feel as if we're an abomination upon the earth. We have no inheritance. There is no tradition being passed down to us. There is seemingly no meaning, no purpose to our lives. We're kind of caught in this situation where we're expected to kind of play a game, kind of indulge in illusions and delusions, and we have to knowingly kind of do things that we know is pointless and we don't even want to do it, but what else is there to do? And if many young people were being honest with themselves, and, if their conscious thoughts and words that they had in their head were put into action, they would be like monsters. They would be killing, destroying, stealing, raping. They would be doing the worst, most egregious things. There's deep darkness in the young people of today. It's extremely sad, the reality we're living in. And it's because we live in a godless society. It's because there is no order and we have no place in the world of today, the way it's built. There's no spot in which we fit. I just want to detail a little bit more about this idea of Gen Z as kind of a malformed or cursed generation. The reason I say this is because, like I said, we're not inheriting any sort of tradition. We're not being passed down, and there's no faith being passed down to us. Even those who are raised vaguely religious, just like the last 2, maybe even 3 generations, it's really just kind of a vain cultural practice, and most people don't really associate any truth to it. I'm not saying there are no Christians. That's certainly not the case, or that there's no, fervent believers in other faiths, but I'm saying that on the average, most people, their paradigm, their worldview is extremely self-centered and atomized to the point where it gets very warped, and people are easily deceived, easily made to despair, easily made hopeless, and we're worshiping all of these fallen, idolatrous, just disordered things. So I really think that Gen Z is essentially like the result of 3 straight generations of kind of godless, soulless culture, to where it's been watered down now to the point where there's not even really the illusion of order. There's not even the illusion that we have it figured out. It's kind of just a fully nihilist society, and the youth is extremely sensitive to that, and we can feel it in our bones. And even if you've been told something is true, you might have like a slightly more grounded perspective. You might be a little bit more solid of a person if, say you were raised with the belief that there is a God at least, or that there is objective truth, there is objective morality, But at the end of the day, you're still going to feel a sort of disconnect. And that is the sense in which we all are these cursed abominations. We all feel as if there's just not a place for us, and we don't feel human. And then we look at the stories of old, we look at these tales where these people have such firm conviction, such strong desire, such burning fire in the stomach, just a drive to create, to build, to protect, to conserve what they have, to expand it, to share with the world what they think is right. And this idea that what we have is good, and that we know what good is, that it's not that we like what we have, it's that what we have is good. And there's more good out there to be had. There's a higher good to chase after. There's something above us. That's what held society together. That's what built the world we have today. And so, I think women notice this as well. But of course, men are going to be extremely receptive to these ideas because it's in our nature to want to be conquerors and to want to, seek out and expand and protect and conserve. That's what we do. And we also set boundaries. And we live in a world without boundaries where it's expected that everything's open. Everything's just allowed. It's free. Take it. Just take it. It's fine. And at that point, you don't want it anymore. When there's nobody telling you how and when and, what are the conditions for having it? No, you just have it. It's fine. Well, I don't even want it anymore, right? That is the state we find ourselves in now. So we're drawn to these stories just like Frankenstein's monster, and we want to participate. We want to be a part of it, but we also feel that somehow we have no place in it. We feel fake when we laugh. We feel sort of real when we cry. But at the end of the day, we don't feel as if our humanity is genuine. And that's why we're so attracted to irony. That's why we're so obsessed with doing everything ironically, doing everything with a hint of, well, I'm actually doing this because I know it's gay and retarded and dumb. And I'm doing it because it's funny to point out how gay and retarded and dumb it is. And then eventually it just kind of catches on, and that's the only genuine things that we can kind of glom onto are these things that were ironic then became genuine. And that's what 6-7 is. And that's what all these things are. It's like so retarded and pointless that you begin to genuinely love it. And I don't know what to make of that. It's kind of a confusing thing. I don't think anybody fully gets it, but I think that is the real origin, is that we are Frankenstein. That's the moral of the story. We're square pegs trying to fit into a round hole. It just isn't there for us. And there's a lot of rage about that. It is a cursed situation in the sense that the world is not built for us. However, when I say the world, I'm of course talking about society. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about the earth. I'm not talking about God's creation. And I'm not talking about the holy hierarchy of reality, the true universe. Reality in its pure essence is designed specifically for us. And we're still human beings. We're still blessed to be made in the image of God. And so, our situation is not nearly as dire as Frankenstein's monster. But regardless, even if you disagree, even if you say, well, that's a fairy tale and, you're coping and this is all whatever, what choice do you have? Right? I'm going to give you the boomer take. What choice do you have? What are you going to do? Are you going to indulge in rage for your whole life? Are you going to destroy everything around you? or are you gonna try? Are you gonna earnestly, genuinely try? I'm declaring all-out war on nonchalance and irony. Do things genuinely with your whole heart. Seek for something good. Try to be a person in the truest sense, and don't have any shame about pouring your entire heart into something, into your whole life, into people. That is essentially what I got from the movie, is that Frankenstein's monster is the youth of today, but you have no choice. Live fully, live righteously, with strength, with faith, with discipline. Do what you can. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. God bless. What's going on, man?
How are you?
Good.
Doing some YouTube stuff?
Yeah. Talking about the new Frankenstein movie.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
No.
No.
There's so many Frankenstein movies, I didn't even know there was another new one out.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's a little different. It's a little different from the original story, but I liked it.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
What's your name? Yeah.
Was he at St. Bernard?
St. Bernard, yeah. She's a little for St. Bernard, but she's purebred St. Bernard.
Good girl.
She's a good girl. She's very social, so
Yeah.
we don't mind dogs.
Oh no, I love him.
Come on, girl. Have fun, man.
Yeah, have a good day.